Welcome everyone to your adaptive chair yoga practice. So my name is Bobbie, and been invited to teach the class for a little while now, and it always feels like a privilege and an honor. And so I'm teaching from my home in Half Moon Bay, which happens to be a rural community on the Sunshine Coast. And so I'd like to begin the class by inviting you to find a comfortable seat. And so it's challenging for our nervous system to calm down if we're uncomfortable in our bodies. And then when you're ready, an invitation to make sure that if it works for you, that your chair is turned off, and understandably that doesn't work for everyone. And I think if you happen to have a yoga buddy, it can be a good idea to have the chair turned off. And then when you're ready, an invitation to ground through your feet, so center and ground through the soles of your feet. And so a centering practice essentially just means that we're setting aside whatever was going on for us before the class for the duration, knowing that we can come back to that after class. And so grounding through our feet, centering ground through the soles of your feet. So we want to keep our connection with Mother Nature. We tend to start losing that. Speaking of Mother Nature, I have a rabbit. His name is Evie, and right now I'm a little distracted because he's eating my couch. So I'm just gonna say, hey, Evie. Evie. No. And then an invitation to root down through your sits bones. So maybe notice where your bottom and your thighs are in contact with your seat. And then energy moving in two directions. Lengthen from the tip of your tailbone all the way up through to the crown of your head. So you might imagine you have a thread on top of your head and it's pulling you way up to the sky. Then roll your shoulders back and down just a few times. Tuck your chin in slightly to release the back of your neck. And then if you'd like, and it's available to you, to transition into mindful movement. So reach your arm up to the sky. And then slowly float your arm down. So gentle movement, reaching up, way up to the sky. And then slowly float your arm down. So let's explore adding a gentle breath to the movement on inhale, reaching up full length of your inhale. On exhale, float your arm down the full length of your exhale. It's as if on our inhale, there's a beginning, a middle, and an end point. On exhale, a beginning, a middle, and an end. Release both arms down by your side. Then rest your hands on your thighs. Take a moment, and then we'll begin the movement on the other side. As you're ready, reach your other arm way up to the sky. And then slowly float your arm down. So gentle movement, reaching up, way up, up, up. And then slowly float your arm down. So adding a gentle breath on inhale, reaching up full length of your inhale. On exhale, float your arm down the full length of your exhale. It's as if on our inhale, there's a beginning, a middle, and an end point. On exhale, a beginning, a middle, and an end. Release both arms down by your side. And then when you're ready, if you'd like, and it's available to you, start reaching both arms way up to the sky. Fold your fingers in, press into the palms of your hands. And together we can shout out, I am, I can, and I will. And because none of us get through this thing called life alone, we could put we instead of I. And so we are, we can, and we will. And with a sigh of relief, float your arms down by your side. Roll your shoulders back and down just a few times. And rest your hands on your thighs, palm up or down as desired. And maybe even taking a moment to notice which feels better for you. Resting your palms face up, or does it feel better to rest your palms face down? And so if you're tired, I'd like to invite you to explore resting your palms face up, open to receive. If you are feeling restless, scattered, palms face down can help ground us sometimes. And then when you're ready, an invitation to begin to move your gaze downward. And so moving away from the busyness in our minds and more towards our heart. Allow your facial muscles to soften and release. Our jaws relaxed. And then when you're ready, an invitation to place your hands on your Buddha belly. So the area between our navel and our pubic bone. And then maybe placing your other hand up onto your heart center, the middle of your chest. And so from here, I'd like to transition into a practice called breath awareness. And so it's actually easier to connect with our breath when we're reclined. And so if you have the ability to recline in your chair, go for it. And so maybe noticing that as we inhale, things expand. Pardon me. As we exhale, things contract. And noticing, is your breath long? Is it smooth, or is your breath jagged? And breathing in through your nose and out through your nose. Or maybe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Or if it feels better for you, breathing in and out through your mouth. And so if you're congested or you have an obstruction, breathe in whatever way you can. And so from here, I'd like to transition into a simple breathing exercise that research shows can help with pain management and anxiety. And so begin to deepen your inhale, lengthen your exhale. And see if you can begin to smooth out your breath so that your inhales and your exhales are about the same duration and quality. At any point, if you notice that your mind gets distracted and wants to wander off, Know that that's okay. That's the nature of our mind. Simply bring your awareness back to your breath. And now see if you can add a quality of softness to your breath. So you might imagine that you're petting your favorite animal friend. Or maybe that you just tasted something delicious. And see if you can bring some of that same softness to areas of your body that you feel are too tight or knotted. Our breath is long and smooth and soft as we breathe in and as we breathe out. And just for a few more breaths, or as long as feels comfortable, I'd like to invite you to keep this simple breathing exercise flowing. At any point, if you notice that your mind gets distracted and wants to wander off, know that that's okay. That's the nature of our mind. Simply bring your awareness back to your breath. Our old friend, our breath. And if you notice that your mind gets distracted and wants to wander off, as often it will, an invitation to bring your awareness to the sounds around you. So I just heard the whoosh of a vehicle on the road in front of this panel cabin I live in. I can hear the ticking of the old clock in my living room. And then maybe noticing the gentle tone of my voice. And in a loving way, bring your awareness back to your breath. And so wherever you are in your breath cycle, allow your breath to come back to its natural rhythm. Your natural rhythm. Maybe observing the rise and fall of your chest and your belly. And then drop your chin towards your chest. And then gradually blink your eyes. And so we're falling awake, not asleep. Falling awake, not asleep. And so notice if you felt a subtle shift in your energy. And so we've begun the process of tuning into our bodies and connecting with our breath. And so often the bridge between our body and our mind is our breath. So an invitation to release your arms down by your sides, spiral your palms open, open up your armpits and wiggly fidgets. So shake your hands vigorously. And so if anything I share with you feels uncomfortable, if it hurts, skip it. In other words, if it exacerbates pain, skip it. Come back to your breath. And so if we're focused on our breath, we're doing yoga. And so from here, I'd like to invite you to walk your hips forward in the chair about 2/3 of the way. And so if you're wanting or needing the back of the chair for support today, honor that. And so yoga meets us right where we are. And so Lynn, I'm going to invite you to sit up nice and tall. And then maybe if Julie's free, your yoga buddy, if she could come and place her hands on your shoulders gently, and then maybe help you so that you're not kind of putting as much strain on your upper back or your neck. And so really encourage yoga buddies, if you happen to have a friend, a family member, caregiver that can work with you during a class. That's always lovely. And so not necessary, but it can be fun. And so invitation to roll your shoulders back and down just a few times. Tuck your chin in slightly to release the back of your neck. And then when you're ready, an invitation to bring your hands together at your heart center. And so maybe even noticing how it feels to have your hands in this placement. So if this makes you lose your balance in any way, choose another placement for your hands. So it might be that you place your hands on your yoga belly. And so we never forfeit balance to come into a pose or a movement. And so when you're ready, on inhale, I'd like to invite you to extend your arms up and away. And then bring your hands back together at your heart center, or maybe your navel center. And so moving with your breath in your own time and rhythm, if you'd like to keep this gentle movement flowing. And imagine the sun at your heart center. And on your inhales, as you extend your arms away from you, imagine the rays of the sun radiating out all around you. And then gather that light and bring it back inside. So it's a symbol of the light that's always inside us. Inhale. And then if you'd like to join me, we can make a humming sound, just like a bee, as we bring our hands back together at our heart center. Inhale. Inhale. Rest one hand on your yoga belly, the other on your heart center. And maybe taking a moment to feel the rise and fall of your chest and your belly. Great. And so release your arms by your side or wherever feels comfortable for you. Spiral your palms open. Open up your armpits and wiggly fidgets again. So a little more vigorous this time. So do the bum dance. Do the bum dance. Good. Okay, so I actually came across some of my notes from my teacher training. I graduated from Yoga Therapy International in 2013, and so I've collected a lot of notes through the years. And when I was planning the class this morning, it was really lovely to come across these again. And so I'll be referring to them from time to time. And so let's actually repose. And so make sure that your feet are placed evenly on the floor, on your footrest. Sit bones are sharp on the chair. So really when we're seated in a chair, sit bones act like the feet of our pose. And then lengthen from the tip of your tailbone all the way up through the crown of your head. So you might imagine that you have a thread on top of your head and it's pulling you way up to the sky. Roll your shoulders back and down just a few times. And tucking your chin in slightly. So this will help release the back of your neck. And from here, we'll begin simple neck rolls. So I don't know anyone that doesn't have tight neck and shoulders these days. And so see if you can resist the temptation to go to your full range of motion. Our yoga belly is soft, breath is quiet. And then simple neck rolls in the opposite direction. And then move your head up and down as if nodding yes. So I am, I can, and I will. And then maybe just turning your head from side to side, as if nodding no. Tip your head from side to side, towards your ears just a few times. And then if you'd like, transition into shoulder circles. So soft, organic movements, nothing rigid. So Edie's eating my couch again. I'm just going to be a moment. Edie? No. Edie? No. So my husband refers to me as a bunny mom. He's the bunny dad. And so, of course, pets and children are welcome in the classes. We're doing our practice from home, which is lovely. And then move your shoulders in the opposite direction. Soft, organic movement. So keeping that lovely breath awareness, linking our breath with our movements throughout the practice. And then maybe alternating from side to side. So you can imagine that you're swimming. And then forward, we're doing a breaststroke. And so Lynn, I can see you, and so I know that you're a fish. And so imagine that lovely, cooling, feminine energy that water is. And then an invitation to stretch your arms in front of you. And then take your hands to your shoulders or wherever you can reach comfortably. And then stretch your palms. Take your hands to your shoulders, stretch your palms. And then maybe alternating from side to side. So whenever we move asymmetrically, this is good for our brain health. So particularly our memory. Release your arms down by your sides, spiral your palms open, open up your armpits, and then take your hands to your shoulders. And then imagine you're drawing circles on the wall in front of you. On the screen. And so it might be that you alternate, maybe do one shoulder at a time. And then circle back. Release your arms down by your side or wherever feels comfortable for you. Rest your hands on your thighs and take a moment to notice how's your breath. Notice any subtle sensations. And so trust that the sensations are there. So it might be a tingling, maybe a little heat. And so I'd like to share a quote with you that I came across yesterday that I thought was amazing. And so the quote is, a mindfulness skill is to notice pleasant and unpleasant sensations in the body without taking them personally. Fidel Zeidman, S-Z-E-I-D-A-N. So I'll read it one more time. And so a mindfulness skill is to notice pleasant and unpleasant sensations in the body without taking them personally. And so let's repose, sitting up nice and tall. Push down through one foot and then down through the other. So it might be an energetic pushing down. And so maybe noticing if you feel one foot more than the other. Sit bones are sharp on the chair, lengthen from the tip of your tailbone all the way up through to the crown of your head. Roll your shoulders back and down just a few times. Tuck your chin in slightly to release the back of your neck. And then when you're ready, we'll transition into some movements for our hands. And so stretch your palms. So feel the skin between your fingers. And then maybe make soft fists. Stretch your palms, soft fists. And stretch, soft fists. So most of us use our hands more than our feet. And so circle your wrists in one direction. Circle in the opposite direction. Maybe noticing, is one wrist tighter than the other? And then imagine you're playing piano. So we're getting that synovial fluid flowing into all the little joints in our hands. Turn your palms face up. And then if you'd like, circle your thumbs in one direction and then the other. So micro movements, visualizing the movement, focusing on what we can do. And then interlace your fingers loosely together, maybe just bring your hands together. We'll practice drawing the infinity symbol. And so when we flow with our breath, magical things happen. And then move in the opposite direction, so a little more challenging. Release your hands, reach your arms up to the sky. So might feel comfortable with your arms up around your ears. Maybe it feels better to have your arms in gold pose, or maybe even resting on your thighs, your arm rest. Fold your fingers in, press into the palms of your hands, and together we can shout out, I can't hear you. I am, I can, and I will. And then we can shout out together, we are, we can, and we will. And with a sigh of relief, float your arms down. Rest your hands on your thighs, palm up or down as desired. And take a moment to notice how you feel. You're noticing, where did your thoughts go? So no judgment. Yoga meets us right where we are. Okay. And so moving on, let's, I actually brought a few props today that I thought I'd introduce. And so today mostly is going to be about neck and shoulders, a warm up. We'll definitely do some movements in the spine, so our spines matter. and maybe see if we can get into our hips a little bit. And so for now, I'd like to introduce a shoulder opener. And for a prop today, I'm going to use this is a scarf actually, that was sewn together by with old pieces of material. So if you happen to have a yoga strap, maybe a belt for your house coat, anything will do actually that's belt-like. And so Evie is just a few inches in front of me now, my feet, so you might see him hopping around. And so shoulder openers. And so let's begin by making sure our feet are placed evenly on our footrests or on the floor. Your sit bones are sharp on the chair. And so it might be that if you have a yoga buddy, that your yoga buddy is helping with the arm movements. Might be that you do one arm at a time. So I wanted to introduce this practice using a yoga strap or a tie, whatever you have today. And so as you're ready, sitting comfortably, effortlessly upright. On your next inhale, so holding the strap. Actually, I forgot to cue that you want to hold it, have your hands placed about shoulder distance apart on the belt. And so on inhale, reaching your arms up. And so Julie might work with Lynn, practicing one arm at a time. And then slowly float your arms down. So come out of the pose. And so we'll practice this 2 more times as you're ready. On inhale, reaching up to your place. And then slowly come out of the pose. And so as you're ready, 1 more time, reaching up. So pressing against the belt this time. So pulling the belt apart. And release. And so take a moment, notice how this feels. Notice any subtle sensations. Maybe. And so I think I'll set this aside for now. I'm going to actually use it again, maybe next week, for the class. And we'll do some more shoulder openers. And for now, I think I'd like to begin to move towards movements of the spine. And so when you're ready, invitation to place your hands on your knees or thighs, wherever feels comfortable for you. And then on an inhale, draw your hands in towards your hip creases and begin to turn your gaze up towards the ceiling. So be careful not to throw your head back. It might be that your eyes meet where your ceiling meets the wall. And we'll stay here for a few breaths or as long as it feels comfortable. And then when you're ready, return to a neutral spine. Now we'll begin a gentle warm up for our upper back. So as you're ready, round your upper back. As you do, draw your chin in towards your chest. So on inhale, arch, slide your shoulders away from your ears. On exhale, round your upper back. As you round your upper back, draw your navel in towards your spine. And slowly come on out of the movement. Release your arms by your side, then take a rest. And notice how's your breath. Notice any subtle sensations. And so when you're ready, release your arms down by your side, and then we'll tip from side to side. So extend beyond your wrist, beyond your fingertips. And so it can be interesting to close our eyes as we practice these movements. And then bend your elbows low in front of you. And so find a space straight ahead of you that you can gaze on softly, that helps focus our mind. And then gently twisting from side to side. If you'd like to challenge yourself a little more, you could bend your elbows, fingers reach for the sky. Inhale to one side, exhale to the other. If you'd like to challenge yourself a little more, you could reach your elbows out so that they're in line with your shoulders. So gold pose. Inhale again, so to one side, exhale to the other. Move here with your breath. And slowly come out of the movement. Put your arms down. Rest your hands on your thighs, palm up or down as desired. And notice how's your breath. Notice any subtle sensations. So I'll share that quote again that I read earlier. So a mindfulness skill is to notice pleasant and unpleasant sensations in the body without taking them personally. Fidel Zidane. I have no idea if I'm pronouncing the name properly. I hope so. I think it's close. Okay, so moving on. Let's come into a practice called finding our balance. So you might want to shift your weight from side to side a little bit. You do a little bum dance. So moving the buttock flesh away from your sits bones. If you can bring your feet a little wider than outer hip bone distance, if that's possible, go for it. It's okay to have your toes turned out a little. And then with your hands resting on your thighs, it might feel good to have them here in your hip creases. We'll transition into this gentle movement. So hinging from the hips, rock forward. And then rock back up. And so it's not about seeing how far we can go. We just kind of that just right amount of effort and ease. And so gentle movement in your own time and rhythm for a few more breaths. And then come on back center. Take a moment, notice how this feels. And then when you're ready, an invitation to explore well, actually let's do cat and cow. So I'm going to turn my chair sideways so that you can see what's going on with my spine a little better. And our feet are nice and wide. And so cat and cow, resting your hands on your thighs, palm face down or maybe on your knees. On exhale, round your back. As you round your back, you'll notice that your belly naturally contracts into your spine a little. And inhale, arch your back. Exhale, round your back. As you round your back, draw your navel in towards your spine. So this is a gentle warm-up for our spine. And so in your own time and rhythm, I'd like to invite you to keep this gentle movement flowing. And for a few more breaths. And so move in a way that feels natural for you. So natural that your movements and your breath become one. And so if you happen to have a yoga buddy that can place their hands, stand behind you, their hands on your shoulders. And so you are doing the work, your yoga buddy is just helping to guide. And then maybe as you round your back, they can place their hand on your yoga belly. So up to you, this is your yoga practice. And then slowly come on back to a neutral spine. Release your arms down by your side, then rest your hands on your thighs. Palm up or down as desired, and notice how's your breath. So our old friend, our breath. Notice any subtle sensations. And so I'm looking at the time, thinking that it would be good for us to begin to move towards a short. Today is going to be a silent meditation and your final relaxation. And I also have, well, actually, maybe we could use this poem that I intended to read earlier and didn't as our meditation today. And so before we go there, I'd like to invite you to come into a seated forward fold. And so if you happen to have a blanket that you can place on your thighs, maybe rolled up and bring it into your yoga belly, so our low belly. Your feet can come a little wider than outer hip bone distance. And so there are contraindications for forward fold if you have fractures, bulging discs. Forward folds are contraindicated. So I'll invite you as a way to really, it's to calm our nervous system and to relax in preparation for the meditation and your final relaxation. Come into whatever pose you'd like. If you have fractures or bulging discs, so it might be that you feel good reclining in your chair. It could be that you're imagining, visualizing that you're lengthening your spine. Or it might even be okay for you to come forward a little bit, so maybe 20%. So you choose. Again, this is your yoga practice and you know who you are. And so a folded blanket can be grounding. Also just learn that actually a bit of weight on our thighs can help with fatigue. And so if we sit a lot, fatigue can be a concern. And so, okay, so when you're ready, take hold of the sides of the chair for stability. And then hinging from your hands, come forward with a flat back. So it's not about seeing how far you can go. We just kind of that just right amount of effort and ease. Tuck your chin in slightly to release the back of your neck. So you might even nod yes and no. And then breathe into your lower back. You might imagine that your lungs are in your lower back. Notice how you feel in the forward bend. And so forward folds are calming for our nervous system if we come into them in a way that's appropriate. And then when you're ready, slowly come out of the pose by pressing down through your inner heels. Place one hand on each knee or thigh. Lift from your chest, come on up. In preparation for a short guided meditation and your final relaxation. And so I'm going to turn the lights down a little bit. And so if you have a pillow, a yoga mat, a yoga block even, something that you can place along your spine, behind your back, that can be comforting, supportive. And if you'd like to even place your hands in a mudra, hand gesture that feels comfortable for you. So mudras are hand gestures that help us focus our mind. And so I'm going to unfurl the blanket a little bit. And so the poem I'd like to share with you today is a meditation. It's by Mary Oliver. And it is called In Praise of Craziness of a Certain Kind. On cold evenings, my grandmother, with ownership of half her mind, the other half having flown back to Bohemia, spread newspapers over the porch floor. So, she said, the garden ants could crawl beneath, as under a blanket, and keep warm. And what shall I wish for myself, but being so struck by the lightning of years, to be like her with what is left, that loving. And so I'll read it one more time. In praise of craziness of a certain kind. On cold evenings, my grandmother, with ownership of half her mind, the other half having flown back to Bohemia, spread newspapers over the porch floor. So, she said, the garden ants could crawl beneath, as under a blanket, and keep warm. And what shall I wish for myself? But being so struck by the lightning of years, to be like her with what is left, that loving. And so come into whatever pose you'd like, position for your final relaxation. And so an invitation to close your eyes softly, if that feels comfortable for you, or soften your gaze. Roll your shoulders back and down just a few times. So we're not scrunching our shoulder blades together. We're allowing our shoulders to soften away from our ears. And soft yoga belly, the area between our navel and our pubic bone. Soft palms, quiet breath. Allow your breath to reflect the pose. Serenity Pose. Relax your jaw. Unclench your teeth. And let there be a little space between your teeth. Soften your lower jaw. Soften between your temples. Soften the area around soften the area between your eyebrows. A wide forehead. Silently, if you'd like, on inhale, saying let. On exhale, go. Inhale, length. Exhale, go. And it's challenging to quiet the mind. Sometimes placing our hands on our yoga belly can be helpful in bringing our awareness to our breath. And without changing anything, bring your awareness back to your breath. Thank your body. Thank your body again. And now see if you can begin to deepen your inhale, lengthen your exhale. Wiggle your fingers and toes, hands and feet, waking up. Rub the tips of your fingers with your thumbs if you'd like. And come on up seated to finish up your yoga practice today. And so an invitation, if you'd like, to bring your hands to your heart center. Lifting your heart to your hands, bow your head to your heart. And take a moment to honor yourself and each other for showing up for yoga today. Thank you to my tech host, Bowden, and all the folks that make this class possible. And so the teacher me honors and appreciates the teacher in each of you. Thank you.